January has unofficially been dubbed National Divorce Month due to the spike in court filings after the new year. Breaking a marriage can be a very stressful and often messy progress, but there are some strategies that exes can implement to make sure that the split is as smooth as possible. So Lawrence Datz, a family law expert, joins us now to unpack some peaceful solutions on how to minimize conflict during those divorce proceedings. First of all, I want to say, we don't want anyone to get divorced, and we hope that there are other options. But in that situation where there are no other options, there are things you can do to make it easier.
Absolutely. And not to mention, let's face it, you don't want people to live together unhappily either.
Sure. So I want to talk about January. Is it because everybody wants to push through the holidays and we can make it through Christmas and New Year's, and now it's January, just kind of that odd month, and we're going to start getting down to business?
In general, it's speculation, but I would say it's a combination of factors. I think for a lot of people, it's like a New Year's resolution. They want to start fresh. They want to start anew. Some people don't want to do it during the holidays. They've already made up their mind, but they don't want it to have negative effects on their children. And some people probably get caught doing something they shouldn't have at a Christmas party.
So. Yeah, so you've probably heard it all in your career.
I would think.
Hopefully, right?
Yeah.
So you've got the holiday factor, you've got the emotional stress, and that's why a lot of people go through, and as an attorney, you see the gamut and you see the stress that it takes on both parties.
Yes, absolutely. There's no question that divorce is a traumatic event for both people, no matter who wants it.
So what do you do to minimize the harm on both sides?
Well, the main thing, and I would say probably one of the more central things, Florida is a no-fault divorce state. And a lot of people get wrapped up in, I was right, and the other person was wrong, and I'm good, and they're bad. It's not about that. Divorces are a matter of separating finances, households, and developing, if you have children, a shared parenting plan.
That's what I want to talk about, because for so many people, unfortunately, the children are the innocent victims here, and they're caught in the middle. How do you make sure that the kids do well through this difficult process? Because it's a tough talk to have, to say mommy and daddy are no longer going to be together.
That's true. And the key thing, one, don't involve the children in the litigation. That's probably of paramount importance. As you point out, the children didn't ask for this. Therefore, parents ought to try and make it as easy on them as they can. One of the problems that arises when parents start thinking in terms of, I want to put my rights over what's best for my child. If they keep their eye on the ball, so to speak, they'll do a lot better.
And social media is a big issue now, because I have personally seen people on Facebook, on social media outlets, bashing the other person. What's your recommendation when it comes to that?
Generally, I would advise clients to keep anything about their divorce off of social media. For the last, I don't know, maybe 10 years or so, it's been the cutting edge of evidence in divorce cases.
And finally, how are we looking as a whole as far as the divorce rate, say, versus 10 years ago?
In general, the rate of married people who divorce is probably about the same. Statistically, there are fewer divorces, but that's because fewer people are getting married. You've got younger generations who are putting it off until later in life, and you've got older, or in general, the public doesn't feel as though marriage is so important anymore.
So more people splitting up, but fewer people actually divorcing.
Right, because there are fewer married people.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. And I know that you're there to make sure that things go smoothly and as painless as possible during this difficult process.
Great. Thanks for having me.